Okay, hello, this is Bad Anime Sunday episode 4. This is Fighting Game February with my good friend Sam Ben.
Hi guys.
And today, to start it off, we watched Tekken the movie because we thought it would be really, really awesome to, just start it off. We thought it would really impress us. Unfortunately, even though it's Bad Anime Sunday, and it was very, very bad, obviously, but it wasn't. I'm disappointed because I got Sam Ben hyped for it, and I was hyped for it. I thought it would be so bad, but it wasn't bad as much as it was super duper boring, unfortunately. So I'm a little.
Why are you so bored, Paul? Is it because your father pushed you off that cliff?
That was about the only thing. That's literally just go. That's like we have our live reaction video of it, and you can watch it along with the movie if you so desire. But as for the movie itself, it's certainly not worth watching, even for, so bad it's good. It's not worth watching, even if you're a Tekken fan. It's not worth watching.
No, it's really not.
It's terrible. It's horrible for a fighting game fan because it's one of those movies that barely has any fighting at all in it.
There's no fighting in this movie.
I mean, we comment constantly in our live reaction because we're just hoping that, hey, maybe we'll get a fight in, maybe that'll happen, maybe they'll fight, but they do have fights, but they're all over in a matter of seconds. So
they're with invisible dinosaurs.
Or invisible dinosaurs.
Well,
and yeah, I mean, you would expect even the final fight was like maybe a minute long.
Disappointing
at best. And the animation's terrible. Everything about it, it's not even going to please a fighting fan. There's too much talking. There's too many subplots. It is not interesting in the slightest. It is a boring ass movie, and you should never watch it.
Actually, it's interesting that you bring up the subplots because you're right. For a fighting film, this has too many plots. The A plot is simply a revenge story. It's got Kazuya who wants revenge on Heihachi because he threw him off a cliff, which deserves to be a meme. Frankly, it has to be an internet meme because the dialogue is amazing. So that's the A plot crossed with Jun, who's the heroine, trying to redeem Kazuya. Now, so that's kind of our A plot. And the reason that Jun gets involved, whereas Kazuya gets involved for revenge, is because Jun is working for, I don't know who they are, shadowy organization number 476. And basically these guys find out that the Mishima conglomerate are building genetic weapons. Spoilers! The genetic weapons are invisible dinosaurs.
The invisible dinosaurs is the best. I can't believe I don't think any. It's like, these will be the optimal camo soldiers that will change modern warfare. Invisible dinosaurs changing modern. Who would have thought?
Yeah, drones, nuclear warheads, those aren't going anywhere. We need to invest all of our money into invisible dinosaurs. Why?
It's quite literally just a humongous joke. That was legitimately funny and bad. And there's this one moment. There is one moment which is legitimately pretty cool, where Kazuya he basically gets headbutted by two dinosaurs tag teaming him, and they headbutt him from front to back. That was pretty badass, I had to say.
And then he rips one of their jaws apart, and that was pretty cool. But
other than that, it's like
yeah. Other than we've made the plot sound more interesting than it is.
I want to emphasize one thing. That the one who got the knowledge that this organization was doing this stuff was June, right? And then she meets someone else who's also investigating it. I don't even know his name. I don't even think did they say his name in the movie?
They did, but it was only once.
And then, so you would think they would work together, right?
But they never do.
They don't work together. And the one who originally was given this job was June, but she doesn't do anything involving finding out about this thing at all. She focuses completely on Kazuya because her spider senses tell her what people are feeling and the darkness inside of their hearts. And it's like,
remember Captain Planet? Well, June basically has the power of heart in this movie.
Yes, basically. And it's like, well, why didn't what was his name again? I can't even remember.
Lei Wulong.
Lei Wulong. Why wasn't Lei Wulong the main character then? Because he's the one who actually did something about it. Instead, June's the main character technically, because Kazuya's not the main character. He doesn't do anything in the movie really, other than say, "I'm so angry. My father. I will get my revenge on you." And that's
Kazuya just has one note, and it's revenge. And he just hits it over and over and over again.
Well, to be fair, I guess June's only note is, you can't be drowned by hatred.
June has, honest to God, probably the worst dialogue of any character I've ever seen, Western or Eastern or anything. Like, her dialogue, it almost reaches room levels. Not in terms of how bad it is.
But somehow, some way, June and Kazuya still get together at the end, even though not a hint of romantic chemistry was given between them in the entire
You can
movie.
tell that that's what they were hoping would lead to it, but in the end they just kind of went, nah, screw it.
But continue about June's dialogue. I'm sorry for it.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So yeah, that's kind of our A plot, and as the protagonist of this film, June is, oh my God, the dialogue is terrible. Like, early on, when she's being recruited by her bosses to investigate these genetic monstrosities that the Mishimas are creating, her boss says, "We believe that these genes could not be natural, other than be caused by an unexpected alien invasion." And you think, okay, this is sounding dumb. And then he says, we have a multi-gene life form on our hands. And she immediately says, but that's not possible, proving that she knows nothing about biology, and this is kind of the thing. All of her dialogue is just either wrong or repetitive or so bad it's hilarious. Or
well,
sometimes it's
not
just
hilarious enough, mind you.
Not enough to save this film.
Like, I wish there was more dialogue that was so bad it's hilarious, but there was not.
Yeah, it's like this needed more moments like Bao's "I like my coffee hot." Oh,
there was really only one really fun piece of dialogue in this movie, and that was the Cliff line. That was legitimate. I think there might have been one more, but other than that, that was about it. I think the only other scene that stands out is Heihachi eating the tomahawk.
Yes. There is an amazing moment when Julia Chang attempts to assassinate Heihachi. She throws a tomahawk at him. He catches it in his teeth. He bites down and shatters it. And what I want to know is, how did he know he could do this?
I guess he's just that much of a man that he knows he can just take a tomahawk and chomp on it.
Yeah,
but here's the funny thing. So she wants revenge on him, too. Why even fight the other contestants when they know where Heihachi is? Why not just run to Heihachi and go fight him there?
Yeah, and like,
there's nothing stopping her.
She could join up with Kazuya. I mean, you could tag team the guy.
And they're like, "Oh, I want the revenge." No, I want the revenge, and it's like, why don't you just have revenge together? No, that's not manly. That's not king of Iron Fist tournament. What if a girl wins? They would be the king.
That's just a good point, actually. Maybe that's why we've never seen a woman win the King of Iron Fist tournament.
Because, yes, then we'd have to change the title to the Queen of Iron Fist, the King and Queen of Iron Fist tournament.
The King or Queen or whatever. But
that just doesn't sound specific enough.
No.
Oh,
my God, this Honestly, I thought the B plot was better. The B plot is with Wei Wulong trying to get to the bottom of these genetic experiments because the A plot doesn't do it. And it leads him to meet Jack and this little girl who is never named. And Jack is a robot. A robot who is a killbot specifically. But he's a killbot programmed with an AI that will give him emotions if he tries to kill someone. I'm just going to let that sink in for a moment. Yeah, there's the face. Like, I can't see the expression that you're making, but I completely can. And then they meet the scientist responsible for creating Jack, and he says, well, Jack's one thing, but we've also been working on super weapons for the Mishimas. And it turns out that Roger the boxing kangaroo is a thing. And that he's the prototype.
That was also the thank God he was in the movie.
He was the best character by far, mostly because he didn't talk. But get this, they say we made they made Roger by editing a kangaroo's DNA, and you just kind of why?
Why would you take a kangaroo? And just
why?
Is Heihachi that bored that he's like, you know what? We need to
just
test
what he
this on
does for
a
kicks.
kangaroo. That's such a docile animal. We need to make sure that it can become a boxing master. Wouldn't it be more efficient to take an actual docile animal and see if it could become something like a bunny rabbit or something? Not a kangaroo.
Don't say it, Paul. You'll give them ideas.
Never mind then. I'm sorry I even said anything.
Oh, but my God. Okay, I think the best part is Roger is the prototype for the invisible dinosaurs. Which raises all kinds of questions like why Roger doesn't have a cloaking device. But yeah.
Because here's the other funny thing about the cloaking device, by the way. The dinosaurs have cloaking devices, but whenever they attack, they turn their cloaking devices off.
So what's the point?
I guess they could sneak up on them, but it's like, wouldn't it be... I guess they can't attack and use the cloaking device at the same time. They never specified that, but it's like...
But that would be a huge design flaw. Like,
I know.
That would be like a nuclear bomb that only works if you, hug it or something. It's just so stupid.
It's like, if you're going to have them have cloaking devices, at least, let them have cloaking devices. It would have been more badass for Kazuma to beat them when they were invisible because, that's all you can really hope for this movie is random badass moments, that don't make any sense, but they're badass, so who cares? But they didn't even have those, So... It was like, why even have them have cloaking devices at all if they're not going to use them?
I will say that I think I've enjoyed this movie the most out of all the anime we've seen. Like, it's not saying much, but I think I enjoyed it because this was really bad. But I do think the first half was really boring.
The first half was really, really, really boring. Too much talking.
There's too much talking, and the fights are 2 seconds long, and the dialogue makes no sense. Like, for example, there's a bit where Nina attempts to assassinate Kazuya, and Kazuya says that my father, he should wash his neck before sending anyone to kill me. And it's like, he should wash his neck?
Okay.
What does that mean?
Well, you see, that's the thing. They should have re-scripted that line because it doesn't make any sense to an American audience. I think it
doesn't make any sense to an English one either. And I fail to see how it could make any sense in the original Japanese.
Well, in the Japanese, I think they would say wipe your neck because that's the when they commit seppuku, they would cut their heads off. Because they're saying I'm going to come and kill you is basically all. You should be waiting to die is basically all that means. But seppuku, the concept doesn't really exist in America, so it obviously didn't make any sense. He should have just said, he should prepare himself for me, and it was cheesy either way. So just say something that makes sense to American audiences. But I can see why you wouldn't get that concept. Not a weeaboo like me who has watched a million anime. So
indeed. So yeah, it was just a really, really weird... The whole thing is just weird, but I tell you what, the thing that really gets me, though, is probably The C plot, yes, because there is a C plot. There's a C plot, there's a D plot, there's an E plot, and the C plot is Lee, who is Kazuya's adopted brother. Now, Lee, he's probably the most interesting character, if only because he's the one that makes the least sense. Like, I'll give an example. He's obsessed with killing his brother. But here's the thing, he lives in a big fancy mansion. He has 2 beautiful women waiting on him hand and foot. He has limitless scientific funding because he's the one who's masterminded the invisible dinosaur plan. Like, this is all him. He basically is the villain. Heihachi doesn't really do anything except he's just kind of being a vague kind of big bad off in the distance. Lee is really the driving force behind this whole bullshit storyline. And yet, he's constantly doing really stupid things. Like, towards the end, he has no reason to fight Kazuya, but he does it anyway. He has no reason to blow up the island, other than just...
Well, he does it anyway.
Yeah.
And I hate to interrupt you, but can we just talk about, how Bao had you said last video with Bao, the self-destruct button. It's everything Secret Base has got to have. It's like I should have seen that coming, that the self-destruct button was coming in the island. I'm like, why did he even self-destruct in the first place?
But
okay,
it's like,
go on.
No, that's
why
a valid question because it's on
happen?
a volcanic island. This fighting tournament takes place on a volcanic island. And you think, why would you need a volcanic island? Sorry, no, yeah. Why would you want to make your base on a volcanic island? Why?
Because it seems
epic. And then why would you
epic.
need to add a self-destruct mechanism if your base is already on an island that could blow up at literally any point?
And can we backpedal for a moment and just say, why even have a fighting tournament?
That is actually a very good question.
Like, what? The fighting tournament played no part in anything. Why did they want to have a fighting tournament? Just so Heihachi could fight someone strong? Why didn't they just fight Kazuya?
Like, he didn't really even need this fighting tournament to lure Kazuya out. He could have just, Lee seems to know where Kazuya is because he was able to send his assassins after him. So, why bother with a fighting tournament? Why not just, call up Kazuya and say, hey, let's have it on?
Then we might have had a focused story instead of, bunch of bullshit. And can I just say to every Tekken fan, Tekken fans, would you not say that King, if not the most iconic Tekken character, he's the character that a Tekken fan knows who he is, They might not know the other characters, but they know who King is. His name's easy to remember. He's got the mask. He's iconic, right? King is not in this movie at all. You see him in one screenshot, and that is it. You don't see him outside of that. I see him in a second
one, so he gets 2 seconds of screen time.
Can anyone just, why would they... King. He would be the character to focus on, or at least have some screen time, not fucking Tomahawk Girl, not fucking Wu Lei Chang, or Lei Wu Chang, or whatever his name is. I keep forgetting it because I never said his fucking name
Lei
in the movie.
Wulong.
Lei Wulong. Okay, yeah, I really screwed that up. See, you wouldn't even know who these characters are. They'd just be random nobodies if you weren't, and why would a Tekken fan watch this movie? That's an excellent point.
There's no reason to watch this movie if you're a Tekken fan.
Yeah, you know what this movie should have been? It's for people who haven't played Tekken, should... watch this movie and say, oh, I haven't played Tekken. Maybe I'll watch this movie, and then I might get curious about it and start playing the fighting games. That's what I think the goal of an anime series should be, if not just pure fan service. But this anime movie was not
Although
just pure
speaking
fan
of
service.
pure fan service, we did there was actually a decent chunk of that.
I mean, blame it as much as people blame. I hate to bring up this movie. I know you hate it. I know I know a lot of people hate it, but Advent Children, at the very least, was pure fan service. It had a very boring beginning, but at least it knew it was fan service, and at least it pretty much was complete pandering for the last 40 minutes or 30 minutes of the movie. I forgot how long.
Pandering is the best way to describe it.
So at least but Tekken, it didn't even have that. It didn't even have
And when Advent
pandering.
Children has a better story than you, it's really time to rethink your life.
I mean, but it's like it didn't even have pandering. The most pandering this movie had was that, you got to see one of your fighting game chicks naked, and you got to see Roger, and that was about it. That's the most amount of pandering this movie gave you. So who is this movie
No
for?
one.
No one. That is the answer. What were they trying to do with this movie? Seriously, what were they trying to do? It had no animation budget. The fights were all shit and unexciting.
That's the thing. You'd expect at least a fighting anime would have really good fighting animations, but these could be the worst fights I've ever seen. Because it's static a lot of the time.
They were.
They have a lot of still images with speed lines. Did you notice?
Yeah. They're just the classic where they just rush towards you in a static animation, and it makes the whoosh noise in the background to act like they're moving towards them, and there's no animation going on, and that's something you expect from a TV episode, not a fucking hour-length movie. I didn't expect much budget, but I expected a little more than that. Bao was shit, but at least it had some cool animation.
This movie made me wish I was watching Bao again, because at least Bao was pretty to look at.
Yes, and this movie is just ugly in general. Everything about it looks ugly. They can't even, like Sam been commenting multiple times, they can't even keep the characters' hair colors proper at times.
Anna's hair had this weird thing where it went from blue to brown to blue to brown again, then to blue, then it stayed blue, then it was brown in the next scene. It was like, really, anime? Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. It was bad. It was bad, obviously.
And yet, even though it was bad, I don't hate it because because
I'm shocked. I really thought you would have been more bored with this movie. Actually.
I can't be bored with a movie that confuses me too much for me to feel boredom.
At least it has that. I'm glad you enjoyed it enough to feel that.
The first half was terrible because it made no sense whatsoever, and I didn't understand what was going on. The characters were poorly written. The first half we could have done without, but as soon as the invisible dinosaur... I'm sorry to keep going on about this, but this was the only thing I liked in the movie. I got more entertainment from bitching about the invisible dinosaurs than I did any of the fight scenes.
And also, what is Heihachi's plan? Why? I mean, he doesn't seem to even oversee any of this.
That reminds me. Actually, at the end, he does go into a huge, rambling, villainous monologue. Yeah. Oh God! We got bored.
Before you go into the monologue itself, let's just say this movie is full of like cheesy 80s music and cheesy 90s music, right? And the fight scene between Kazuya and Heihachi just had the most random soundtrack ever. It was so. And then when the monologue came, they played this like epic song for some reason.
The mixing was terrible, but the villain monologue is like, imagine every Square Enix villain speech about how the world is full of pain and suffering and it should be destroyed. It's that. It's all of those speeches, just one after the other. That's pretty much what he has. He says his goal is to destroy the world, and I'm not even kidding you here. He says his goal is to destroy the world so a new world can be born again. So apparently that's what the invisible dinosaurs are for. But he goes on because he says, my Tekken will create the destruction of the devil and the rebirth of the gods. Which I didn't understand, because the movie starts off with one of the worst and also the best narrations we've ever heard. Because it starts off literally with a guy we think is Kirk Thornton. I hope it is. Just because that would be brilliant if we were right about that. Talking about how humans have always fought in the name of God for over countless years, but the act of fighting is a true act that goes beyond the understanding of religion, for it is the answer to life itself, and Tekken is the key to life. And it was the dumbest thing we'd ever heard. But it was...
And the funny thing is, they've never ever said what Tekken was.
They said it was your fist, I think, but
So your iron. I mean, it means iron fist, but so your fist is the key to life. Is that what? Is that really all they're saying?
But then Heihachi says, my Tekken will destroy the devil and bring the gods back. But we had a huge rambling monologue about how you didn't want religion in this world, so I'm sure there must have been a mistranslation somewhere, because so much of the dialogue didn't make any kind of sense. And going on further, this movie completely failed to understand anything. Like, obviously, there's the whole thing it made about religion being the cause of all the wars in the world. It's not, by the way. Spoiler warning, religion causes 7%, and even then there's a lot of underlying secular reasons like empire, political land grabs, etc., etc. Trust me, I've looked this up, I've studied it, I know what I'm talking about here. To Heihachi saying that his motivation for throwing Kazuya off a cliff is, I want you to be strong like a lion. Lions throw their cubs off cliffs, and they only raise the ones that climb back up. That is not how lions work at all. That is not how lions even begin to work.
This is why I have Sam Ben on the show, to make sure we all are educated from the anime bullshit that we are fed.
It's not even close. Okay, lions are extremely protective of their children, and they would never, ever do anything like throwing them off a cliff. They will happily fight tooth and nail to defend their young. So, where is Heihachi getting his facts from? Wikipedia? Ah.
That's I
and then
I don't even think Wikipedia would give you that much.
And then
bullshit.
there's everything from the whole thing about how there can't be multi-gene life forms. Yes, there can. Spoiler alert. Okay, I'm not a biologist, but I've read enough medical science to know that much. It's impossible how wrong this movie can be on so many levels, and how the themes make no sense. This religion theme, to just come back to it, it's like they're trying to have a motif throughout the show, but they don't. Kazuya is possessed by the devil, Heihachi wants to bring back the resurrection of the gods, Tekken is the key to life and the defeat of religion or something, I guess.
The defeat of religion is definitely what Tekken is about.
But none of the characters are religious in the slightest. The closest would be June, and even then, she's more spiritual. She's never, they never mention any kind of organized religion, so what was the point of making this huge rambling religion speech at the start? It's imagine if you were watching, something like Ghost in the Shell, but the first 10 minutes weren't Ghost in the Shell. It was something from SpongeBob SquarePants, and you're expected to take this in continuity. You'd think, wait, what? I came here to watch Ghost in the Shell and I got SpongeBob. Yeah, well, we came to watch Tekken and we got rambling philosophy. This movie feels like it was put together by committee by about 5 people on as many different planets. And yet it was so bad that I just can't hate it, because it was just too dumb. It was clearly not designed by intelligent people at all. These were really stupid people designing that. And I really try not to take digs at people's intelligence, unless they're a Twilight fan or something. I've even given stuff like Diabolic Lovers the benefit of the doubt, and said, I understand why this exists, I don't get why it's popular, but I don't think you're an idiot if you like this, I just don't think I understand you. No. This was a movie that was made by stupid people. And and that's entertaining in a way, knowing that these really stupid people thought they were being really, really smart with all of this fake science and fake history and everything. And it's this is a train wreck of a movie, and I'm having a blast just ripping it apart. And maybe that's just really cruel of me, but that's how I felt.
another funny subplot E or F or whatever was the two sisters that Lee had, and it's like Lee never loved you, he only loved me, and they're like sisters, they're both banging Lee, and it's like,
but when was
what's it matter who's he's begging both of you, what's it matter if he doesn't love you or whatever, or I mean what is Lee's goal anyway?
He wants to control the Mishima Empire, and he wants to eliminate Tekken because he thinks it's an ancient voodoo that the world has no place of, and that we should be inspired by rational, sensible ideas, like invisible dinosaurs.
And it's funny. The best thing was that, what did it all lead to? One of the sisters getting their head bitten off by a dinosaur. And I'm like, you know what? That's one way to solve it. But it's like, this was the one that was actually on Lee's side. She got killed by the invisible dinosaur.
He set loose.
Seems like these invisible dinosaurs aren't very well tamed.
Not only that, but it's like, I just want to know who was going to buy these things, because they're a business, so clearly they must, and like they're a big Zaibatsu. And apparently I read in the designer notes of the Tekken games that Mishima were based on Yakuza. So clearly there's a criminal empire, so we must assume that they're like buying and selling and illegal trafficking.
Can you imagine the Yakuza just freaking having invisible dinosaurs going around and making sure their territory doesn't get taken over? Yakuza 6, or whatever Yakuza number it's on now. Yakuza 6 this time with invisible dinosaurs.
But also, like, as I keep saying, they were going to sell these things. Who was going to buy invisible dinosaurs? Like, can you imagine if they actually tried to sell these to the Japanese military?
Hey, we got some invisible dinosaurs
Japanese government.
Here.
I know some of the nationalists here are still sore about what happened with Hiroshima, so we've got invisible dinosaurs to even the odds.
Yes, those bloody Americans will never see what's coming.
Literally, because they're invisible.
Oh, God.
That's it. This movie has given me so much to bitch about with invisible dinosaurs that I just can't hate it. It made me laugh. And as bad as it is, I have to say, I think I've enjoyed this movie.
Well, that's all that really matters. So, is there really anything else to say about this movie? Okay. You know what? And this is Tekken. I honestly don't recommend anyone watch this, even for invisible dinosaurs.
You're really best off just kind of looking up clips of the invisible dinosaurs on YouTube, or like just kind of draw your own or something. But like, I enjoyed this movie, but I don't recommend it. I watched it.
I mean, unless you're just a big fan of really bad old anime, then I guess have at it. That's the only time I would recommend this movie. But other than that, if you're a Tekken fan, just stay away. You're gonna hate this movie. You're gonna get bored as shit watching it. It doesn't have the fights you would be looking for. You could have more fun watching the AI fucking fight each other in Tekken.
Yeah. Although the AI dinosaurs in that game can't turn invisible, so...
Like, literally, what I suggest doing, if you watch this movie, anytime a fight scene turns on, go look up a tournament player and have those two characters fighting against each other, and it would probably be more entertaining, for sure.
If you just, watch an actual fighting game tournament, it would almost certainly be more entertaining than this. Like, as I said, I enjoy this movie. That doesn't mean I recommend it. I watched it because this is what we do. We watch bad anime for the podcast. But does that mean I'd recommend it? No. Even for Invisible Dinosaurs, if you have a choice between this and JoJo's wins. Or something like that, you know?
Yep. And so that concludes our episode of Tekken. Stay tuned next week as we tackle the Blaze Blue anime, which I'm sure will be a glorious adaptation.
I'm actually really looking forward to it.
I'm sure the Blaze Blue anime will just, I'm sure it can make sense of the storyline.
Oh,
right?
I don't think Blaze Blue is
Right?
the Kingdom Hearts of fighting games, and this anime is going to be amazingly terrible.
Well, I can't wait. All right. Well, thanks
Thanks
for
for watching,
watching, guys.
guys.
We'll see you
Take
next
care.
time.